Welcome to the first episode of Mindful Chatter, where the focus is Black women's mental health. Here I discuss issues affecting the Black community, our cultural pathology, and how these factors impair Black women's well-being. Today I'll be talking about how I came to the very painful conclusion that I need to not only give up on the Black collective, but I need to just let go of this undying loyalty that I've pledged to Black men because it's proven to be overwhelmingly destructive. I started giving all of this serious consideration after watching an episode of Fox Soul where they were discussing whether or not Black women should be dating outside of their race. And one of the points that was raised is the fact that Black women outnumber Black men by 2 million. Despite this, there were Black people on the panel who were still encouraging Black women to stick with Black men. Another point that was addressed is the marriage rate. About 26% of Black men get married, which is obviously a very low percentage. And of the 26% who do get married, 25% of those Black males marry someone other than a Black woman. And the moderator was totally downplaying 25% as if it's not statistically significant and still stating that, Black love is a real possibility for Black women. So what quickly became apparent to me is that the assertion that Black women should stay down with Black men is coming from a place of emotion and idealism, and facts are really not part of the equation. The discussion also highlighted the fact that there is a clear disconnect between older and younger generations of Black women. One of the panelists, Cynthia G., a YouTuber, had to point this out to some of the older women on the panel. She let them know that social media is really giving us insight into what's going on with Black men and their mentality. She discussed how Black males are all over these social platforms stating their preference for everything but a Black woman. And that in the face of all of this, we should not still be sitting up here talking about we only want to be with a Black man. The discussion was more than eye-opening for me because it showed me that Black women are basically being tethered to a sinking ship. And this is all being done under the guise of Black solidarity. Because off top, the math ain't mathin'. We already know that this deficit of 2 million Black men doesn't even take into account who's an abuser, a criminal, a poor communicator, unemployed, or any other factor. So once you really start breaking this down further, taking into consideration who identifies as heterosexual or not, whether you actually have chemistry with this person, and if they even like Black women, the deficit grows exponentially. And this is why I started off talking about how I need to just cut this tie and referred to it as being destructive, because all it's doing is putting me and other Black women into a situation where we are choosing males who are extremely low value. This is the reality for most Black women, that you are not going to find a suitable mate when exclusively choosing from among Black men. It just is what it is. And continuing to suggest that we limit ourselves to Black men is literally putting us in a situation where we're going to be signing up for informal polygamy, otherwise known as being a side chick, because we already know that there is a minute portion of the Black male population that falls into that high value male category, which means that all of these Black women are going to be trying to choose from that same small pool. So if you want a man at all, the only option it leaves you with is to, try to clean somebody up, open up that Build a Brother workshop and put you a man together. And this is exactly what Black women have been doing for the past several generations, and we see how that has worked out for us. Another thing that was mentioned, which just made me shake my head in disgust, was this whole idea that Black women being able to find a mate is more of a spiritual thing, and all we need is one. So, you can basically just, manifest a man if that's your intention. It really is a bunch of foolishness because you sitting up here trying to make all of these black women think they're about to manifest a man out the mud. Like vibrating highly and all of that is going to overcome gross scarcity. Because it's not just a scarcity mentality when you have literal, verifiable scarcity. It just is what it is. And all of this is very distressing because black women have been socialized to remain race loyal. The overwhelming majority of us still only date black men. Just 40 years ago, only 3% of us were married to a non-black man. And I believe the current percentage is 12%, which again is still very low. And for black women like myself who have literally built an entire identity around pro-blackness and have spent our entire lives devoted to this ideal of a strong black family, having to possibly date someone who isn't black is very scary. I was talking to one of my girlfriends from South Africa, and she's lived in the States for a few years now. And one of the things that she mentioned was the fact that she had only been here for about 3 months, and she was already hip to what was going on. She could see that the black women here are not open to dating men of other races, but that the black males are just running amok and being with whoever they want to be with, shamelessly throwing that in our face and trying to weaponize it. She was telling me that I should open up my options, and I'm telling you the God honest truth. Like, I literally felt like I was going to have a panic attack at the mere thought of it. Like, I got nauseous and everything because, again, I have built an entire identity around pro-blackness, and in my mind, you can only be devoted to your community and the black struggle, so to speak, if you're focused on black family. So this has really weighed on me psychologically because in many ways I feel like I have painted myself into a corner, limited my options, and made some poor decisions when choosing who to date because I've been trying to move within this very limited sphere. I see where this current generation of black women is more open to dating and marrying out. But for black women like myself who really have very deeply ingrained feelings and emotional ties to the community, is more of a challenge. I really wanted to talk about this issue because it's never explored within the context of mental health. Black women being unable to find suitable relationship partners and finding themselves in these toxic, imbalanced relationships, which often leave them single mothers or them having to forego their dreams of having children altogether in an attempt to avoid this madness, absolutely causes depression, anxiety, and physical illness as well. I want this to be a space where we feel comfortable discussing these problems because the state of the black community is absolutely a threat to black women's mental health. That's all for today. I do thank you for sticking with me until the end of this video. I think I'm actually going to continue the discussion with part 2 because I still have a lot more to say. I want to delve into how colorism, anti-blackness, and men's awareness of the issue actually exacerbates the problem. If you like the content that I produce here at Mindful Chatter, please give this video a thumbs up, and I invite you to subscribe as well. Thanks for listening.